If it's December 9th, which means it's just 16 days until Christmas, if that stresses you out, rest assured you are not alone. The hustle and bustle of holiday shopping, entertaining, and gift giving can add a lot of new stress to your plate this season. We're joined by mental health counselor Lynn Rifkin-Shine to talk about staying positive during the holidays. Now, Lynn, thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome.
But, you know, this may seem like the most wonderful time of the year, but that's a very calculated, thin veneer that people put on top of themselves to make sure that they're staying positive during the holiday, but underneath they may be really stressed.
I think it's a really tough time for some people. It's a beautiful time for others, and that's fantastic, but it does bring with it a whole lot of stress for some of the things that you were talking about. The financial stress and the buying and finding the right gifts and entertaining, because there's always a lot of people in your house. And that's one side. The other side is if you have certain traditions that you no longer are going to have, whether someone that you love passed away, whether there's a divorce, and that's a big one that I deal with a lot in my office. So they may not be with their children that year because they're sharing their children with somebody else. So there's differences, and that's tough for people. Coping with change is different.
It seems like when you're breaking down both categories, what I'm hearing is people want Christmas or the holidays, whatever they're celebrating, to be the time of year where everything is perfect.
If you watch the movies, we're normally seeing beautiful things and happy things, and people, you know, New Year's Eve, for instance, is a huge day that creates a whole lot of stress. So it's not just Christmas, it's all the way through till New Year's, because we have this vision in our head that we think, exactly like you said, should be perfect. And when we don't meet that, it feels like we're let down, versus the need to curb some of those expectations and create your own happy time.
I mean, it seems like it would be as easy as saying, okay, we're just not going to worry about being perfect this year, but that's a really hard thing to do. So do you have any tips on someone starting to understand that I don't have to do everything perfect this year?
Right. I mean, setting the limits or writing down ahead of time so that you have it in front of you, a visual. This is what I'm going to do, and trying to stick with it. Going shopping and saying, this is what I'm going to buy, versus being overwhelmed with everything on the shelves and buying too much. Sticking to cash versus doing credit cards. Picking names instead of needing to buy for everybody. As well as talking about, because I always say, and I've said it in here many times, traditions are the cement that holds families together. So it doesn't have to be a big thing. It can include just reading a story at night. So whatever things that you think that you can do to create a tradition, whether it's making different kind of cookies for your family, or pierogies in certain families for the holidays. Doing something, the traditions are the more important, or volunteering, which is a big thing and helps people feel fulfilled because they're giving back instead of just taking.
Go back to those core values that we're supposed to be celebrating on the holidays. Now, real quick, I can imagine that a lot of people are embarrassed when they don't have enough money to buy gifts for everybody, or maybe there was a change in their family and the family's not together for the holidays. Are there any things that you recommend for people that might be feeling not stressed, but just a little downtrodden, a little embarrassed?
Yes. I mean, in terms of the not being able to buy things, I always believe, and I've said it to my kids since they were little, I don't need you to go to a store and buy me something. It means a whole lot more to make something, or to write kind words, or to spend time with somebody. So think about switching that up a little bit. In terms of being alone or things being different or not being with someone, change your tradition so that you don't feel this obvious emptiness at the table, or something different. So if you've never volunteered before, go volunteer. If you need to reach out to somebody at the office and say, I'm alone this holiday, do you have room at your table? You're one. So being able to think ahead is the most important piece.
All right, thank you so much for joining us today. Do you have a stress-free holiday tradition that you recommend people maybe think about this year?
Yeah, I do. Since the kids were little, we got them hot chocolate, would get in the car in their pajamas and drive around and look at the beautiful Christmas lights. That, to me, is a beautiful tradition.
A stress-free, very frugal thing to do. Anyone can do that, and you have a lot of fun. All right, thank you so much for joining it. Now we're going to change gears and send it back to you.
All right,